Alright guys, welcome back to another Dayz tutorial. In this video I want to show you how you can make it so you can choose what players spawn with in terms of clothing. If you want to do like guns and stuff like that, items, you know, stuff in the inventory, I'll quickly show you how you can do that. But this is more on player clothing. You can choose, like, if you got a new guy that spawns on your server, or, you know, guys when they die and respawn, they can, you know, be wearing by default a set of clothing or different types of clothing that you choose. They can do that. So anyway, now this does work for, you know, you can choose vanilla clothing, you know, modded clothing, so like any mods that make custom clothing, or if you've got custom clothing that you created yourself. You know, I don't know, you've taken some clothing, you know, made custom skins that have your server logo on or something. You can do it that way too. So anyway, I'm going to show you two ways, with expansion and without expansion. And now when I say with expansion, it depends, I think, what mods you use for expansion, because unless I think you've got most of the mods, I think unless it's the main expansion mod, you won't get a certain file that gives you the spawn loadout, the JSON file to create that. And in which case, if you don't have that, you can use the non-expansion way. So let's go in, and I think if we use my dear old server, I think this uses expansion. I'm pretty sure. So if you go to your MP mission folder, now this used to be with expansion. It used to be in your profiles folder, and there's an expansion folder. With expansion now, it's all moved. But go to your MP mission folder, your mission expansion folder, and then go to settings. Yeah, and then there's a spawn setting file. So we're going to do, or I'm going to show you now, the expansion way. And then we'll show you the non-expansion way after. So with the expansion way, if you find the spawn setting.json file, open up in whichever, you know, notepad editor you use, and then by default, this line here, enable custom clothing, that is normally 0. Put it to 1, that means it's active and it turns it on. And then you've got, down here, you've got a list of different type of clothing. Now, there's usually quite a big list. There's like, I don't know, in basically tops, there's probably about 5 or 6 different tops. Backpacks, I think there's quite a few backpacks. I'm using my custom clothing that I've had a friend, you know, sort of learn for me and create for me. And I've only basically got one type of clothing that we've done. So that's why I'm only using one. But if you've got more, you can add more types of clothing. There's 3 backpack texture skins he's done for me, but 2 of the backpacks are quite large, and I don't want fresh players to spawn with them, so I've only got to use 1. But put as many as you want to, and that's all you need to do in the spawn JSON file for expansion. Make sure, you know, it's all like structured correctly. There's no mistakes within the JSON file. You can always use a JSON validator afterwards, just to make sure the file is correct. Also, down with expansion, if you go down the bottom here, you've got enable starter gear. If you put this on, you can choose like what items you want your player to spawn with. So in this case, I've got a rag, Mountain Dew, flashlight, you know, so on and so on. And you can choose whereabout you want it. So I've set my upper gear to 1. That means all that will spawn in my upper gear. So, you know, my jacket or my t-shirt or whatever it is. If there doesn't seem to be, like I've got an inventory size mod that gives me, you know, more space. So some clothing doesn't have a lot of space. So if you've got a lot of items and you're trying to pack it all into like your upper gear, and it doesn't all fit, well, you're not going to get all the items. So you may want to, you know, put the pants gear to 1 or your backpack to 1 or whatever. You know, you may just make sure you activate some other types of gear so you can actually get all your items to spawn with. But yeah, so that's expansion. Make sure it's like that. And if you do want to add, I do believe if you want to add other lines, you can just, you know, use a, what's it called, a comma or whatever that's called, and then you just follow the same principle, copy, or, you know, copy what's there, and you can put it next to it like so, and that is it done. Obviously, you know, change the name or the second piece of clothing, or you can put it underneath. When you see this file by default, it's all underneath, like I've done there. But I do believe you can put it in one line. Anyway, let's just actually I don't need to save that. Let's just close that. So that's expansion way of choosing your clothing. Now for the non-expansion way, and for that I need to go to my Takistan server. I do use some expansion on this, but not the right mod that gives me the spawn setting. But we need to go to the MP mission folder and your mission name, and again everything is all related into your mission file. Now with this one we need to go to the init file. We just need to scroll down. So I've already got the code in here, but it's basically this part of coding that I've highlighted up, and don't worry, I will put this into the description box, so you can just pretty much copy it and paste it into your init file. But what you basically need, you need this. So this code here will remove the clothing that Dayz sets for you to spawn with, and then this part of it is telling the server to spawn with the custom clothing that you've set it to spawn. So it's kind of, I think this can be on the bottom, but it's kind of like back to front here. So basically we've got at the top here we've got an array and we've got a tops array, and what that means is anything on your top half of your body, like your jacket, shirts, t-shirts, anything that represents, you would choose the item there. So in my case this is tactical t-shirt, live to survive. So it's a tactical t-shirt which is a default item, but it's got my live to survive like custom sort of skin on. And then you do the same here. You got pants, shoes, you can read that, follow it, and so you just put the correct type of clothing. So of course in pants you'd put whatever pants items you'd want in between these little speech mark things, in between these brackets like that. And then underneath with this part, this is basically telling the server, like, okay, we need to create on the player a top array. It's basically saying, okay, whatever's in this okay, I said this is kind of back to front, but I don't really think it is actually. Looking at it, I think it's fine. It works anyway. This is basically saying, look, whatever is in the tops array, so whatever is in this section, particularly in between these brackets, whatever is there, it needs to spawn it. And the same with the pants. So whatever's in the pants array, being this section, to spawn that item. Now, if you got more than one item, it will obviously not spawn all of them. It will choose one at random. And if you do want to add more items this way, all you need to do is, if you basically copy what I've got there, put a semicolon, or not, it's not semicolon, it's a comma or something, and then you'd paste that, and then in this part here you'd put the name of the second piece of clothing, and you do the same, third, fourth, however many items you want to put there, or items, piece of clothing, whatever, names of the clothing. But in my case I've only got one, so we'll just delete that so it looks like that. And you do that for each line. What was the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, so the other thing I was going to say is, I'll put this, I'll put all this highlight in the description box. But with this section, what I'll do, instead of it being this name, I'll just put like name of clothing. I'll put something like that. So you need to change that to the name of the clothing that you would want to use. Okay, if that makes sense. Anyway, apart from that, that's it. So stop your server if you already haven't done it. Make sure you file save the init file, and again with the expansion with the JSON file, make sure you save it. I'm not going to save it because I don't want to save it with that. But yeah, file save. Stop your server if you haven't, and then restart it. Log in. If you've already got a character alive on that server, you will need to kill your character and respawn, and then when you respawn, you'll get all the new clothing. And the same with expansion, Kiwi character. If it's a fresh new player, like a player that's never joined your server before now, when he joins or they join, whatever, they'll get the new clothing straight away without needing to kill herself. And apart from that, I think that's it. I hope that helps. If it doesn't work, check that you've basically done everything right. You put everything where it needs to be, everything's spelled correctly. But when you do the name of the clothing, you use the correct class name of the clothing. And yeah, I think that is it. Any issues, Discord, like I keep saying, my Discord is in YouTube. Come and join it and come and speak to me, and I'll see what I can do to make sure you get it working for yourself. Anyway, apart from that, see you next time, and peace out, guys. Have fun.